In this video, I'm going to show you the exact process I have when working with all the CPG and e-com brands I work with to scale their email marketing campaign. That means I'm going to show you how to build out your flows, your campaigns, your pop-up forms, your list to pretty much build out your entire email marketing channel for you and your team. My name is Alexander Jimenez. I'm the founder and CEO of IX Media. We help CPG and e-com brands making over $20,000 a month in revenue scale their business using email marketing. Proofs in the pudding. Just check out the website. Links in the description. Okay, so the first thing we do with any of the brands we work with is setting up their pop-up form. The reason why it's like one of those low-hanging fruits that like you could even do with your own company or your agency or whatever that literally makes the biggest difference in email marketing without having to change a single thing. Here's a reason why. Just to give you some context, a pop-up form is like if you, for a random example, if you go to Olipop or Gymshark or like one of these e-com brands, typically like maybe like 5 to 10 seconds after you're browsing the website, or if you click like on a tab or something like that, a little pop-up form will show up and it'll be like, you know, save 20% on your first order or free shipping or whatever the case is, like a little offer, all for the purpose of getting your email. So the way you get that offer, if you go, the way you get like 20% off is entering your email, and then they'll send you like the code and whatever, and then you could plug it into your order. But the reason they do that is for one reason and one reason alone, is to get email subscribers, right? And that's the whole basis of your email marketing, right? The more email subscribers you have, the more people are actually going to get your emails, and the more you could actually grow your email channel. So that's the first thing I would highly suggest, is looking at your pop-up form. And obviously there's a bunch of different things you could test out, is like, you know, free shipping, free sampler pack, discount off, percentage off, money off, maybe like a giveaway, raffles, things like that. There's like a bunch of different things you could do with your email design, and I'll go into that more into the later into the video where I kind of show you the actual visual. But just to let you know, there's a bunch of different things you do with your pop-up form, and I highly suggest you shoot for anywhere from like 9 to 12 to even 15% conversion rate with your pop-up form. That's a good number to start off with. So the second thing we do when onboarding a new brand for their email channel is setting up their campaign calendar. Here's what I mean. Obviously, I'm guessing you know this, and if you don't, I'll explain in a second, but campaign calendars, or campaigns in general, is just like a one-time email that you could send out to people, like a whole segment or a whole list. It's typically just about, you know, you could do valuetainment or edutainment or just like a promotion, but it's just one email that you send out to a big list of people. Although you probably already know about campaigns, one big thing that I literally had to find out the hard way about creating campaigns and all this is not having a calendar set up. And I highly suggest this for especially for any freelancers or agencies or designers that make emails for big brands or just brands in general. And the reason I say this is because like the biggest thing that this is going to do is save you the worry and stress, I guess you would say, about like having to create an email on the fly, or okay, maybe like on the day of the email, like you make it the night before, like a new campaign, and then you check on the day of and like, oh man, now I gotta send this out at this specific hour, and you know, this guy, you know, maybe like the guy I'm making the emails for is like, oh, do I actually want this change, or we're changing the offer, we're changing this, and you're like, at last minute, you're like, oh shoot, now I have to redo everything. It's like, it's very, very hard. The second thing, it just saves you a lot of time. Instead of like making a campaign every single day that you send out an actual campaign, or the night before, you actually send out a campaign, even if it's your own brand or another brand you're working with, do an entire month's worth of campaigns. Like literally just sit down in a library or something, just edit all the designs and all the campaigns and all the email templates for all the emails that are going to be going out for an entire month on the day, like an entire month in advance, right? So now, instead of having to each single day, like, okay, man, I have to make a campaign this today and today and today and here, you already have it all set up. And by the way, I know a lot of people are like, maybe in their mind, they're like, oh man, it's gonna take like hours and hours and hours. I'd rather just do it on the fly. Like it's gonna be the same amount of time. And I'm gonna tell you up front, no, it's not. And I'll tell you exactly why. Let's just say that, you know, I make a design on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, right? So for those 4 days in that week, every single day I have to go through and text the guy like, okay, or send him an email and say like, listen, this is going to be the design we send out today or tomorrow. Here's how it looks like. Let me know if you want me to change anything. And then they'll probably, and 99% of the time, they'll be like, okay, can you change this and that? And you'll change it. And then the next day, okay, can you change this and that? And it's an ongoing time delay, and it cuts a lot of your time that you would be saving if you were just to do this. What I highly suggest is make all the campaigns a month in advance for a brand or even for your own brand. Make all the campaigns, and then from that point, present it or have a call, like a physical call, like a Zoom or Google Meets with the person you're actually going to be sending the campaigns through. So let's just say like it's like a brand or whatever. And on that call, literally screen record and screen share all the campaigns that you're making. So then that way they're able to visually point out, this is what I want to change, this is what I want changed, this is what I want changed. And I mean, to be frank, like most of the time, it's nothing like big with the design. It's just like little small things like, the discount code is different or this is different, like little tiny things. It's not really about the design most of the time, but it just saves you a lot of time in the long run, because instead of having to check with him every single day and going back and forth with text or email or whatever the case may be, you have all those discussions a month in advance, and now what you got to do is schedule them. You don't even have to have like okay, we're ready to send. It's just like it's sent, right? Whatever, just to get like like a confirmation type of thing. So that's another big thing I would highly suggest making a campaign calendar for the entire month, a month in advance, and scheduling everything out, again, a month in advance. So that's the second thing. All right, now the third thing that we do when onboarding a brand for their email channel is lists and segments. Now, to be honest, this isn't like a really big part I'm going to dive into, and it's quite simple. I'm just going to kind of like run through this one. All what lists and segments means is like when we're preparing like to launch an email like channel for any type of brand or company we're making, we obviously have to segment lists and like segments. Yes, that's an actual word. Segments, lists are two different things. For the actual email channel, like to send emails. So for example, if you're gonna send like a valuetainment email, you might send that to your people that have, opened your email in the last 30 days. If you're running this big promotional thing where you have like 20% off, 30% off, 50% off, you might send that to like a 180-day engaged list. And by the way, all that means like engaged is like people that have either opened your email, clicked on your email, or like have engaged with it in some type of manner. But again, like the reason why that's so important, I'm going to give you like a big thing I've learned, is don't send out to your full list. The reason you don't want to do that is to not ruin your sender's reputation, like your domain's reputation when sending emails. So pretty much just to give you a quick summary, Google, every time you send an email out, Google checks that email and says like, or at least that domain, and says like, okay, out of 100 people they send an email out to, how many of them are going to spam, how many of them are going to the promotions tab, how many of them are going to the inbox. And the reason they actually divide that up is saying like, okay, if 100 people get it in their inbox, how many of them are opening it? And if every time you send an email, like, and let's just say it's like, out of 1,000 people that see your email, if you're sending an email every single day to 1,000 people, and only 100 of them open it, Google's going to see that as okay, these people are not opening this guy's email. It's probably spam or it's some type of promotion where he's going to put it in that folder. And the reason, like, you obviously, like, you don't want to send it out to everybody aside from that, it's just people aren't going to be opening all your emails. People either change emails, don't use it anymore, or just don't open your emails because they're not associated with their brand. Like, they might have, like, a pop-up form that they get, and they're like, oh, 20% off, why not? Just because they're window shopping, and they get entered, and maybe they don't even open the first email you sent. But anyways, that's listen segments. Don't get too held up on it. Just make sure that you have a solid deliverability, you have a solid domain, and you're not sending out to your entire list. That's the main thing. But anyways, I'll get more into it later into the visual. Here's the next part. Okay, the last major thing when setting up an email channel for any brand that we work with is their flows. Now, obviously, flows is a big thing that obviously a lot of people want to get right and make sure that they don't get wrong. And in reality, like, if I could say like anything with your flows and to make sure, because there's a million different things that talk about flows. Like, it's such a broad topic. But if I could just say one thing in general, just to make sure that you get right with your flows, is don't make it bare bones. For a lot of brands, especially if they're starting out, they'll have like maybe one email in their welcome flow. Like, it's not even a flow at that point. Like, they'll just have one email for each flow, and it's like, that's one of the, in my opinion, that it's not even that it's dumb. It's just like you're losing out on so much money and potential sales that you could be making, as well as just building a brand awareness with your customer that you would have had if you just set up more emails within a flow. But I think the best way to actually describe this is going into the visual, which I'll show you right now. Okay, so now we're in the visual. Just mind like all the zeros and everything. This is just a rough draft of a proposal I'm going to send, or I did send out to a company we're going to be working with soon. But they pretty much, for this specific brand, they wanted pretty much the whole package, and it really just shows every single part of the email process we have for their email channel. So it's pretty like not bare bones, and it'll show you everything pretty much summarized. So as I was talking about with the flows, obviously you want to make sure you have a good decent amount. You don't want to have like one email flow for welcome series, your abandoned cart, or post purchase or whatever. These are just some good numbers to have. So like obviously with your welcome series, you want to have 7 emails, and then that could be anywhere from anything from like a lot of valuetainment, but it's very much about building your brand and making sure you give your customers ideas how to use your product, why to use your product, and the best ways to use your product. So whether that be like, top 3 ways, people have best to use our product, or a skateboard, or a scooter, or a mug, or whatever. Obviously the first email is like, or all the emails are supposed to have like a 20% off, or like whatever your discount or offer is, to incentivize that first purchase. You have your abandoned site, cart, and checkout flow. Of course, that's a combined 7 emails.
emails. I think with abandoned site, and especially abandoned site and abandoned cart, you don't need many, because especially abandoned site, and the differences between this, and just to give you a quick recap before I get into it, is like abandoned site is like, okay, I go to your website, I see all the content you have, but I don't really click on a product, or at least I don't add it to cart. I'm just like browsing every single product. So yeah, I may click on a product, but I don't add it to my cart, or I even go as far as checkout. That's abandoned site. Then you have the abandoned cart, where it's like, okay, now I'm seeing a product. Oh, I actually want to do something with it. Then I click the add to cart button. Now it's my cart. And then checkout is when you actually go to cart at the checkout and you go through the process of checking out. So obviously you're going to get the most amount of people in your abandoned site, then the second most amount of people in your abandoned cart, and the third amount of people in your checkout. But what this is a good number is like 7 emails for all three. And the reason I say that is because, especially for abandoned site, like, all you really need for that one is just one. And I know, like, obviously, I'm saying, like, you don't want to make it super bare bones, but with your abandoned site specifically, you only need one, like, and make it very simple, like forgetting something or took a peek at something with the eye emoji should be pretty much just one email for your abandoned site. Abandoned cart should be like 2 to 3, and then just giving them some ideas of like, okay, this is the best way to use it, and this is the best way to not use it, or these are some of the best ways that our customers have used it in the past. And that's pretty much it. And with checkout, it's same thing with abandoned cart. I mean, people already like show intent, they want to check it out. And a lot of the times, like, especially for checkout, like, this is one of for us personally, for a lot of the brands I work with, like, it's like one of the email flows that just crushes. And the reason I say that is because since they're already at checkout, maybe they need that one extra push, maybe that 20% discount. A lot of the times they're already in checkout, and you're like, mom, somebody wants something, and then they go to their mom and then exit out their brand and whatever, and they were about to check out and they just forget. So this one does really, really well for your first email with your abandoned checkout. Then we have post purchase. That one, the reason I kind of mentioned in the past is obviously you want to give them their order confirmation, or I kind of combine post purchase and order confirmation in the same flow. Me personally, I know some people like to have separate ones, but the main thing is just having their order confirmation, and then after that, and I put 2 flows emails here because that's what he wanted, and we're kind of running with that. But you could do a little bit more than that, and just giving them some ideas of like, okay, these are the best ways that people have used our products in the past. These are some of the ways that you can use the product, and making sure it's tailored to that specific product. Obviously, if you're trying to not make it bare bones in the sense of like very generalized, like if they're buying a skateboard, if they're buying a scooter, send them information about how to use a skateboard or scooter, not a car, if that makes sense. So that's that thing with the post purchase. Then your customer anniversary, you only need one email for this one. It's like the most basic one. It's like 6-month anniversary, and it's like, okay, here's like a 20% off discount for purchasing with us or sticking with us. This one's really good, not even for like just to make sales, but just to build that brand awareness. Like, people are like, oh, okay, like people actually know how long I've been subscribed or whatever. Customer win back, just this is pretty self-explanatory. Maybe not in this one, but pretty much it's like when somebody, especially for like a long period of time, they just don't engage with your emails or don't buy a certain product from you guys or whatever, I guess, like attribution you're sending to it. But mainly if they don't buy or at least open your emails, you could send those emails out to those people and say like, listen, we understand you haven't bought from us in the past, or last time you bought from us was like 6 months ago. We want to give you like a little thank you for being a customer in the past, and maybe get you to buy again, right? And maybe it's like a big discount. Maybe in some cases, I know some companies just send out free product, which is kind of crazy, but I mean, sometimes their margins work because sometimes like they just got to get their product in their mouth, they buy again. But the point is, the win back flow is just to make people come back to your emails and start purchasing again, and just engaging with it again. VIP customer, kind of the opposite. With VIP, it's really self-explanatory. It's just like if you have like especially, I know it depends on the brand. You could check in your data and all that, but it's typically for us, it's like if a person has bought 3 times or more in all the time, like, it shows intent and like actually want to be part of the company. So that's VIP flow. And this one's something we knew we added with this specific brand in general, and retention and subscription flow. I'm excited to test this one out. I'm going to be honest, the first time we're going to do this with the brand. If you have like a certain product that people could, a consumable product that people could use again and again and again, I think this is going to work really well. I don't want to give too much promises in this one because it's going to be the first email our first brand we test this out with. But I think a retention and subscription flow is going to work out really, really well. So giving you a preview. And then campaigns, just to give you, just to kind of wrap everything up, campaigns you should be sending anywhere from 3 to 4 a week. Typically what we like to do is sending out Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, so that's 4. And then on Sunday we like to send one out, but this one's like super like the lowest, super non-promotional. It's literally just a newsletter. It's like, we added 50 new customers this week or 500 new customers this week, and these are the top flavors for the month, and just maybe some links to some articles related to your brand. It's super low key, and it's just for people to really build that brand awareness. So at least you have a CTA there, but it's it's really to build your brand awareness, but it still makes a lot of sales. So that's with that. Pop-up forms. as I mentioned, so obviously you can do free shipping, discounts, free bundle, or like a pallet. So like if you have like some type of sauce, you can give them like a little pallet testing thing. Giveaway, mystery gift slash discount, early bird access to like new stuff. So then obviously list and segments, 30-day segment, 30-day engaged, 60-day engaged, 90-day engaged, 120-day engaged segments, and then you have your VIP customer list and your win back customer list. But anyways, those are the 4 major things we do when setting up a CPG or e-com brand's email marketing channel for the first time. So hope you enjoyed the video. Just leave me any questions again in the description or the comment section or whatever the case is, or just send me a DM. I'll try to answer it to the absolute best of my abilities. Again, this is Alexander Jimenez. Talk to you soon in the next video. Peace.